Alrighty. So, can you even see me? No, you can't. So today this is gonna be a pretty like 15 minutes, maybe 20 at most workout. I've noticed like I got like a little recurrent pain with twisting to the left, and it's kind of along my lat area. So what this isn't part of my exercise master list, and I probably should update it. But what I'm going to be doing is training a little bit of abdominal, hip flexor two ways, and then reassessing lat strength or lat rotation. That I feel it's doing better. I will say, because I've been playing around with it today, and then I may also add in, so it's core, hip flexor, shrugs potentially, and then also maybe some lat work. So what I'm going to start with is the McGill crunch, or I might pre-assess with the kettlebell windmill movement to see how my spine feels going in both right and left, and to see how limited I feel. And I'll follow it up with one exercise, reassess the windmill, follow it up with another exercise, reassess the windmill to see, is it one exercise or movement in specific that gives me the greatest benefit, and then from there I need to use my judgment as a clinician and a strength and conditioning professional to say, this is what I need for me when I have this issue come up, or this is what I need to do more of in order to reduce this painful occurrence from happening again. And I think I did make a statement about this, that I can't prevent anything, but I can reduce risk overall. So I'm actually going to tilt the camera up, so that should do. We've got the 35 kilo kettlebell, or 35 pound kettlebell here. So I'm going to do that windmill. So my left hand is on my thigh with my right hand up in the air, and I'm just going to slide my hand down my groin, keeping that kettlebell up overhead, and then come up. Alright, so going to the right is fine for me. Like I can touch the ground essentially. Versus the left. Well, shit. That feels fine too. Let's see, I'm looking at myself in the camera. Right rotation, I can get my shoulder to point directly at the camera, no problem. And it's a little twingy. I'll say it's a little twingy. Okay, I'm going to start with shrugs. I've got the 45 pound kettlebell that I'll start with. And this is going to be more a left, I'm training left side for the shrug because that's the painful side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, ooh. So I only managed to do 10 on the left side. When I see people do shrugs, are my glasses that dirty? I think the glasses are that dirty. Either that or the film, or my camera is pretty dirty, because I'm like, why does everything seem so cloudy? Alright, that's better, maybe. All right, so when I see people do shrugs, very often I see the shoulders kind of roll forward. The upper trap, mid trap, and low trap are all one sheet of muscle. The fibers just come down in different ways. So upper trap is more kind of like that there, middle trap, and then low trap, more or less. All right, don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I've had to look at the back in that regard. So when you roll forward, you're not really working that upper trap as much. So what I look for is that up and back to get the shrug going versus up and forward. And that's where I can't, if I shrug up and back, I get full shoulder elevation versus if I shrug up and forward, I can't move my arm past this point. But the further I go back, the more movement I get on both sides. So let's see here. So I did one set of shrugs. It's still a little twingy. What I do notice here is I actually do get a little twinge going both right and left. But what if I close my shoulder blade down more to my ribs, there's less pain. So that could be that old rib injury I had where my serratus isn't firing as it should be. But still we press one. So I'm gonna do one more set here, see if that makes a difference. So I'm really gonna focus on keeping that shoulder blade tucked down. So even if your upper trap feels tight and we're stressed a lot, right? A lot of times we go into that stress position of like boxing, you know, we're ready to fight, that fight or flight response. So we do want to be able to actually relax it by giving it work to do. And so that's where if you're constantly stretching, and your neck still feels tight, one, it's not always a musculoskeletal issue, right? If you have a high stress job or there's a lot of life stress right now, maybe you need to address that. But at the same time, like I know those topics aren't always just, you know, magical. Those things don't magically disappear. So there's something you have to be able to feel like you can do in between. So again, I could only do 8 reps with the 45 pound kettlebell on the second set. So again, so let me go, and that's already feeling better. To the right is still a little tight, but I feel like this is more of a motor control issue on this left side, where when I go to the left to rotate, my shoulder stays back. I'm able to lead more with like my chest or my opposite shoulder blade. But when I go this way, my first reaction is to let that shoulder roll forward. So what I'm going to try, so when I keep that shoulder blade pinned, I do better. So that is already much more comfortable. So knowing that that's a motor control issue, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to adjust the band I have to focus more on keeping that shoulder blade closed down while I work on anti-rotation. So I'm going to shut off the camera and make some adjustments here. Be right back. Alrighty, and so we are back. So I've got my 10-pound resistance band attached because this isn't a strengthening exercise as much as it is to develop a habit. So what I'm doing is that I am trying to glue that shoulder blade to my rib cage so that my shoulder doesn't tip forward. So left shoulder rounded forward, back, back. So I feel that glued to my rib cage. And physics wise, if I needed to start a little more easily, I'd bring the weight closer in. Closer in. And as I get more comfortable, I add more distance. So at this point, and this goes to straight arm scapular stability, core stability, and can't remember what my third point was going to be, but for me, I feel like the dismount with my bench is one of the most awkward things for me, and also the start of the deadlift. So being able to pull it off the floor where my arms are at their most extended. So if I can train myself to be completely at my side and maintain good shoulder stability, letting my shoulder blade come around, but with that emphasis of good, preventing that scapular winging, that's kind of a focus. So I'm actually not trying to move my arm too much. The emphasis I have right now is on spinal rotation while that shoulder blade stays stable. And so I'm pulling across my body right now. And the important thing here is also to be able to breathe and not hold your breath. And then we're going to go the other way, same thing. So over and over. And for me, I really want to be able to emphasize full right rotation into full left rotation as much as I can, with good shoulder stability, because I want more backswing in my golf swing. All right, so just off of that, I mean, there's definitely some fatigue, but right, and I went right back into that habit. So right, it didn't stick initially, but I do feel more comfortable with that overall movement. So super quick workout, 15 minutes, but like a little taste of me breaking down my pain, trying one thing, and then from there using clinical reasoning. So don't go to the internet. Like, you can absolutely try and research what's going on with you and try and find things that work for you to manage your symptoms. But there's a reason I'm a doctor. I have a doctorate in physical therapy, and I'm a strength professional trying to get you better faster. So, you know, I want to try one thing with you, see if it works. Try physical therapy first. We cover a lot of things. We are the primary care provider in human movement. So the more you come to us, the sooner we can answer your questions instead of you trying to fumble through the internet and, frankly, causing yourself to panic. I've just started with a patient who was told that she's got severe disc degenerative disease, and I've had to work on talking to her about that imaging does not always signify function or pain, and that we can work on these issues that she's dealing with exercise. I'm not discounting what the imaging says, but that it is not always correlated to how you can live the rest of your life. So CPT first, comment, questions, everything. Like, I want to know more about you. So you guys have a great weekend, week, whatever you're doing. If you stuck around for a quick 20 minutes, did a little movement while I was moving, great. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Good job.